So today I want to do something a little bit different than normal. I'm going to focus primarily on the battlefield. I'll give you a little bit about what happened overnight, but then we're going to deep dive into what conditions are like on the battlefield in Ukraine. So today is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, and here we go. So last night, Ukraine sent drone raids into Russia, ongoing this morning with reports of Ukrainian attack drones, including jet-powered models, headed north over Kursk, Bryansk, and Oriel Oblast. We don't know a lot about that, but that's not what I want to focus on anyway. And then we see some images from the 412th Nemesis Brigade continuing to weaken air defense. Here are two Tor M1 and Buck M3 being attacked by these drones. And so, but again, that's not what I want to spend my time focusing on. I do want to alert you that Ukraine is now putting out that they have a Sapsan ballistic missile. I like the Sapsan because, one, it's ballistic, and ballistics are hard to shoot down, especially for the Ukrainians. It's hard to shoot down. But I can also pronounce it. So, yeah, there's that. Missile is now in combat. Zelensky confirms this. Russian often mistakes the strikes for cruise missiles. 480 kilogram warhead, more than double of ATACMS, a speed of 5.2 Mach. Expert verdict says that there's no way that they can intercept it. And this is what the launcher looks like. So this is the article from Euromaidan Press talking about it. Just a few paragraphs I want to read. Zelensky revealed a tactical advantage in the new missiles provide. Russians often mistake Sapsan strikes for Neptune cruise missile attacks. There are many moments when our enemy believes that Neptunes were used, and let them keep thinking that, the president said, speaking to journalists. He listed the full range of domestic missiles now in Ukraine's inventory. They include Neptune cruise missiles, that's long Neptune, extended range variants, or Paliantia, drone missiles, Flamingo cruise missiles, and now the Sapsan. Quantities remain classified. He says, I won't say how many because I don't want the enemy to know all the precedents and the details. Cruise missiles like Neptune fly low and can be tracked by radar. Ballistic missiles follow an arching trajectory, reaching targets at extreme speed that leave air defenses minimal time to react. There's no way they can intercept it. Kamarov said he identified Russian tactical aviation airfields and Iskander-M launchers as top priority targets. Key Sapsan specifications compared to other systems: they have a range of approximately 300 kilometers, speed of 5.2 Mach, warhead of 480 kilograms, and the launcher is this 10-wheeled transporter erector launcher carrying 2 missiles each, this thing here. So just a couple updates before we get into the battlefield. Overnight, there are attacks ongoing every night, but the power has been very sketchy for most people in Ukraine. And Maria Avdiivka says, life changes when you have no electricity for 16 to 18 hours. So here's my day. Woke up in darkness, heated water for coffee on a camp stove, lucky to have any water at all, worked on my laptop while the battery lasted. When power briefly appeared, I did everything at once, washing dishes, cooking, went outside while generators were humming everywhere. Driving is tough on dark streets, especially in the rain. Then it got dark again, power disappeared. The rest of the day was spent on power banks and lamp batteries. Hard days, but they won't break us. Yep, that's where Ukrainians are. This is what the Ruski mirror brings to Ukraine. Okay. Every drone intercepted in the air is someone's home or car that is saved, someone's life that is spared. This is why I spend so much time talking about drones being knocked down. This is really important stuff. FPV interceptors shoot down Russian Shaheds as it fires anti-tank mine containers. So look what's being deployed from the drone. See all those pellets? And then it's being intercepted. So you can see what they're trying to do before it's getting knocked down. So, yep, this is what the Ruski Mir brings. Okay, let's talk about the battlefield because this is the primary topic for today. 1,010 Russians off the battlefield. It's a little lower than the average, this 1,010. 1 tank, 1 armored fighting vehicle, 25 artillery systems, 107 vehicles and fuel tanks. But the numbers aren't really here aren't really what I'm more interested in. I'm more interested in the context so that you understand why the fighting is different than what it has been. Here's Pokrovsk 1 month ago, and here's Pokrovsk today. 1 month ago and today. So the Russians have made progress. They're in Pokrovsk 1 month ago. And again, this area here was already kind of contested, but now it's clear that the Russians are in there and they're in half of the city. But Ukraine is still holding out. Mirnograd is still holding, and there's contested all around it. Okay, this is Chuck Farrer, his assessment on Pokrovsk. This was yesterday. The AO, the area of operation, remains a focal point of attrition warfare, with Russian forces maintaining pressure. And that, by the way, that attrition, I want to address that attrition in just a little bit as well. So stay tuned. With the Russian forces maintaining pressure on Ukrainian defensive lines, but showing signs of operational fatigue. That is, things are slowing down. Localized clashes without confirmed territorial gains for either side. Ukrainian forces continue urban clearance and stabilization operations within Pokrovsk city, where fighting persists despite Russian claims of full control. And they've claimed full control a couple times now. Overall, Russian offensive tempo has palpably decreased. Okay, and so there's an image of the city as well. Russia is throwing in reserves. Another assault wave has hit the city, including, and again, this is in Pokrovsk, including infantry on quad bikes. One well-armed strike took out 10 occupiers and several vehicles. The Ukrainian forces are still present inside the city limits. And you can see here where the forces are on the quad bikes and on foot. And that's, yeah, it seems like a bad idea. While both engagements and casualties are up from the previous day, casualties remain below the 7-day average. But I saw this and I thought, oh, that's interesting. This is like what we were talking about when we did the last live stream. Greg Terry and a Ukrainian soldier and I were talking, and like snow affects drone usage. He really enjoys snow. Snow means that the tempo goes way down, and so there's not drones, there's not infantry, there's like not movement. It's just calm for a little bit. Snow affects drone usage, loss of unarmored vehicles above the average. Here we talk about, now I was talking about the attrition, and I wanted to show you this, just two little bits from this long thread from Chris O. Russian soldiers who fall out with their commanders due to personality clashes, disagreements, or refusal to pay bribes are routinely sent to their deaths in stormtrooper squads. Few survive long. The following account vividly describes the life of a stormtrooper. I've talked about that before, but I want to show you this. None of the group has assault experience, and this is his own reflection, the stormtrooper's reflection. Assault troops in meat-based assaults rarely survive their first battle. Only one is under 50, like under 50 years old. And just like it's remarkable. So it gives me hope when I realize the context on the ground that, yeah, they're just wasting their soldiers because they have plenty of them. So they use that resource up. Ukrainians don't fight the same way. On the Pokrovsk direction, almost no conditions remain that once gave snipers an advantage. This is problematic. No distances, no convenient positions, no stable concealment. Under these circumstances, the fighters of the sniper company of the Special Forces Brigade Rubzia are honing the main thing, complete stealth. I mean, that's pretty much all that you have left if you don't have any concealment, or I'm sorry, if you only have concealment and you don't have cover. On the North Slobodansk front, border guards from the unit Shivkaval destroyed Russian equipment and communications gear, and you can see some of this happening here, drones slipping into their areas or hitting targets. Thick fog did not stop Ukrainian drones from destroying heavy Russian armored vehicles, but fog is a real problem for drones to be out and about, just like snow is. Konstantinivka direction, a ground robot evacuated a wounded Ukrainian defender under Russian fire. Ukrainian soldiers from the Lut Brigade were caught in an enemy ambush. Russians opened heavy fire. One soldier was seriously wounded. Despite this, he continued to withdraw on his own, firing back at the enemy. Evacuating the wounded soldier was extremely difficult. Enemy drones were constantly circling above their positions. Any movement under fire could be fatal. Therefore, it was decided to use a ground robot for the rescue, and they're showing the ground robot getting the guy out in that video. Okay, Ukrainian assault units are conducting clearing operations in Kupiansk. Remember, Gerasimov and Putin have said a couple of times that both Kupiansk and Pokrovsk had already been bagged. I mean, it's already a done deal. We already have the cities. So Ukrainian assault units are conducting clearance operations in Kupiansk after cutting Russian supply line into town. The Ukrainian General Staff reported about 60 enemy soldiers remain inside. Could be more or less. We just don't know. It's fog of war. With the reinforcements unable to reach them and evacuation impossible, some Russian soldiers have begun surrendering. Footage shows captured troops explaining that they signaled to a Ukrainian drone, which directed them to ground forces. Putin had already proclaimed a complete capture of Kupiansk. The ongoing Ukrainian operations tell a different story, one where Russia's remaining presence in the town depends entirely on whether reinforcements can break through Ukrainian fire control. And again, they kept saying the city was surrounded, but this does not look like surrounded when this is all held by Ukraine. So I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about there, but okay. That's just part of the campaign to look like this is inevitable by saying that cities like Kupiansk and Pokrovsk were captured as they were involved in the ongoing negotiations. This is the forest on the front line covered with fiber optic lines due to intensive use of fiber optic drones. And so when you look at it, it's incredible to look at this and just see like the translucent fiber optic cable just crisscrossing it. So it's almost like dew on the ground with snow, except in lines. It's just remarkable. Look at that. That's just amazing. The new face of defense behind every successful drone mission stands an operator fully immersed in battle through a pair of goggles. But it's not just this guy. It's also, these women, right? They're drone operators as well. I highlighted a 60-year-old math teacher, and she was doing a great job as a drone operator. 60% of all successful hits on the front line are now delivered by drones, according to Sersky, destroying over 81,500 Russian targets by drone in November alone. Behind these numbers are soldiers like the women of Typhoon, seen below, a special drone unit of Ukraine's National Guard, which turns Ukrainians of all genders and ages into highly skilled drone operators to hold back a force that outnumbers them many times over. How about that? Swarm of 7 FPV drones attacks armored vehicles, simultaneously stunning. And now this is test footage from the Swiss-American company Auturan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's showing what drone swarms look like as they come in. And it usually takes multiple drones in order to attack and actually destroy a tank. It's not like one drone per tank. And it's over and done with. But a swarm like that going after a tank could have a significant effect on the tanks themselves. And I think these are like rubberized dummies just showing what the swarm's doing. But yeah, so just so you can get the picture of what it actually looks like when drone swarms come in. Okay, biggest military failure of the century. Ukrainian territory controlled by Russia. Before the war, it was at this percent, went way up in that first few weeks, first few weeks, I guess. And then it went way down as a counterattack, and then it kind of leveled off and slightly increasing. So Russian forces have gained 0.77%. That's not yet 1% of Ukrainian territory since the start of 2025 this year, from January 1st to today, while suffering disproportionate high personnel costs. And, I've seen many estimates, but it would take like 30 million soldiers to spend over 100 years to occupy all of Ukraine. That's the reality, while Russia's trying to play it off like they're inevitable. All right, my friends, last little bit by Darth Putin. On this day, oh, by the way, my shout out is to Miko Kajarlayan, Kajalainen. I think some people have tricky names, and then I'm wondering if people are just messing with me now, knowing my predilection for poor pronunciation of things. But a colleague, Patreon colleague, thank you for your support. On this day in 2021, General Gerasimov said Russia had no plans to invade Ukraine. On this day, well, actually it was yesterday, in 2021. So you can believe that we won't reinvade after we stop what we said we wouldn't start. Moscow to thwart, here's the headline in TASS, December 9th, 2021, Moscow to thwart any provocations by Kyiv in Donbass, Russian military chief warns. As Valery Gerasimov pointed out, the hype spread by the media about Russia allegedly bracing for an invasion of Ukraine is a lie. Yeah, it was a lie, huh? Well, that's where we are today, December 10th, 2025. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person who cares about Ukraine.